Hi everyone, I'm Tom Betts and I work on the BFI Film Academy events programme for Wales. You are about to watch a recording of a BFI Film Academy Lab session on making music videos in 2025. BFI Film Academy Labs are all about helping 16 to 25-year-olds break into the screen industries. These monthly practical sessions are led by industry professionals with a focus on explaining the specifics of working in film and television and developing your skills to become the best screen creative you can be. These labs are programmed across 3 strands: storytelling, business of film and career ladder. We hope you enjoyed today's session.
Hello everyone, my name is Reem Muhammed and like Tom said, I'm a radio presenter based in Cardiff, but I also work a lot with local musicians and I've worked in film and TV as well. So I will do my best to get you all the relevant information you need. Let's jump straight right in. I'm going to pass it over to our panelists and I would like to know, I would like you to introduce yourself and tell me about your work in music videos. Do you want to go first, Ewan? Throwing you right in there.
Hi, hi, Reem. Okay, full disclosure, I last made a music video in like 2023. So I don't know how useful I'm going to be for making music videos in 2025. I think I probably first made a music video in 2008, maybe. And it wasn't very good. And I then made another music video, like probably like 2007, for a Cardiff band called Truckers of Husk. I have no idea if they exist in any form anymore. And me and my friend Casey, we directed the video together, and it was a kind of animated video, but we had a camera on the roof of the Point, which used to be a music venue in Cardiff, and we did a stop motion animation. Basically, we kind of got everybody we knew in the film and a load of props in the video, and then that video did all right, and it got like shortlisted for a UK MVA, but at the same time we started making music videos for Kate Le Bon, and then from Kate Le Bon we started making music videos for John Grant, and then from that we started. Am I too much history here? But basically in that kind of. So it was me and Casey, and we were kind of directing duo, and that kind of snowballed. And then, yeah, we made a load of music videos. Eventually, like signing with production companies in London, and having some success. I wouldn't say amazing success. Did some fairly big music videos, but I've always done small music videos as well. And then now I'm based in London. I direct advertising, and what else do I do? I work on some art films, and yeah, very
Wow.
okay.
I love it. Stop motion sounds amazing as well. And not easy to achieve. So, well, fair play. I'm excited to dig deep, Ewan, and find out a little bit more. What about you, Greg?
Hiya, cheers. Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I'm actually a lecturer at a university. I do make things from time to time as well when I get a chance, and I've made a couple of music videos that have been broadcast, although my last one was significantly longer ago than 2023. But I think maybe the reason I've been asked to be part of the panel is part of my work in Aberystwyth at the moment is that I'm working on a project which is researching the history of the music video. And specifically, this is going to be quite niche for a lot of you, I think, but specifically Welsh language music videos. And you might be thinking, well, there can't be many of them, but actually there are thousands, going back to even sort of the early days of MTV and things. It's a really, really rich tradition. And so part of that project has involved us going around Wales and talking to various music producers, broadcasters, commissioners, even sort of designers, costume people, who've all worked on music videos over the years, and the musicians themselves as well, of course. And what we're trying to establish essentially is there a difference between a Welsh language music video and any other kind of music video, particularly a kind of Anglo-American music video? I mean, full disclosure as well, there isn't really that much difference, no. Particularly when you're looking from a creative point of view, there isn't that much difference. The industrial context, the political context can be very, very different, of course. And then one other thing we're doing as part of that project, which I think is actually great, we've managed to convince some people to give us money so that we can commission new music videos. They're not huge, it's not huge amounts of money, and they're not huge amounts of videos being made either, but that's another aspect of the project that I don't know, we might come back to later, depending on where we go.
Definitely. Thank you, Greg. I think you've got incredible knowledge and you're truly training the next gen. So I'm really excited to find out more from yourself as well. And last but not least, Joe, tell me a little bit about yourself and your work in music videos.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I've been making music videos for like 2 years now, I'd say. So I'm still kind of finding my feet. But yeah, I started off, I guess, when I was maybe like 14, 15, making skate videos with my friends. It was just for fun. I never really knew that that's what I wanted to do. And then as I kind of continued doing that, I realized that it was something I wanted to do. So I started to make short films with friends. You just like get your friends involved to act, even if they don't want to, and they're up for it just because they're your mates. And then went to film school. And since then, I've been working for a production company. Kind of alongside that, I've been making music videos and doing photography within the music industry and that sort of thing, just because I'm interested in it really more than anything. But yeah, that's a little background.
Amazing. Amazing. You've had I'm excited to find out about you as well, Joe, because I know you've worked your career's kind of like catapulted really, really quickly, and it's just really, really exciting, and you do a lot of different stuff. Thank you, guys. What a great introduction. So let's dive in now. I'm going to kind of throw this question to the room, and whoever answers it first, you go for it. But which music video first inspired you or really impressed you? What made you go, that's what I want to do?
I'll go if you want.
Go for it.
It's not a video that inspired me to make music videos, but it's definitely a music video that had a huge influence on my life at a very young age. And obviously it's going to reveal my age as well, which is, I'm sure most of you have come across it at some point, which is Take On Me by a-ha, the Swedish band. Mid-80s. I do know the actual date, but I'm just going to say mid-80s so I don't reveal my actual age. And for me, watching it as a child, really, it was doing things that I hadn't seen before. And I don't think any audience in the mid-80s had seen those kinds of blending of realities. It was using kind of hand-drawn animations with live action, and it was blending them together into this kind of story that didn't really make sense. But it was very powerful. It's a very powerful song. So for me, that video has stuck with me since my childhood.
It's a great video. What about you guys, the rest of you? Everyone.
Joe, do you want to go?
No, go for it. Go for it.
Like I didn't have MTV when I was a kid, and you couldn't really watch. You couldn't watch music videos properly until really YouTube started getting going in like 2005 or whatever it was. I'm just thinking of two music videos I'd occasionally catch if I was at a friend's house. There was like a Gondry video. Well, there's all the Gondry videos were all spectacular, but like for some reason I was really hypnotized. I think it was Chemical Brothers, and I don't know the name of the track. And it's basically the view from the train window, and there's no people in it. It's just buildings, but the buildings pass the view from the window perfectly in time with the music. And it's kind of amazing because in my mind, it's like, oh, music videos could be anything, like there's no kind of limitation. And then another thing is the Super Furries did a music video album, Rings Around the World. I can't remember when that was. like 2000 or 2001 maybe. And I just loved it because you got DVD and every track had a video on it, and I remember watching it a lot. And like some of them were great videos, some of them not so good, but it was just like an interesting project, and there was a lot of kind of variety and experimentation on there. Yeah,
Amazing. I love the Chemical Brothers. They had some great numbers. Fair play. What about you, Joe?
I think one that comes to mind for me is Gosh by Jamie XX. Um, I just remember it was blowing my mind when I first saw that, and just like the scale of it, the cinematography, just everything about it. I loved it. I couldn't tell you what it's about, but it still just makes you feel something. And it was just, yeah, that was the one for me. I think maybe when I was a kid, even before I knew I wanted to make music videos, one that I'd always go back to was um Aerosmith and Run DMC Walk This Way, when they're like sharing the studio and they're like arguing with each other. That was one for me that I loved as a kid, I think, yeah.
I love that music video as well. And it just shows like music videos, you can be like as creative, as abstract as you want to be. It's really, there's no limitations really. Okay, so I'm going to actually point the finger to Greg for this question because this is your expertise. I want to hear about the evolution of music videos from the days of MTV, MTV's boom to today. I think there's been a huge change and it's quite new, I think, music videos, aren't they?
Well, we've only got 45 minutes, I think. And
yeah,
um, yeah, I think MTV undoubtedly is responsible for like a kind of explosion in music videos and also a shift in musical culture and how audiences related to music. But music videos did actually exist before MTV. The Beatles were making them, bands like ABBA and Queen. But it was MTV early 80s that gave videos a platform. What's interesting, I think, about early MTV is it was pretty rubbish to start because the concept was kind of launched before the content was there. So you had this channel which was broadcasting music videos without there being enough music videos in existence. So what we had is a lot of repeats, and a lot of videos that were kind of thrown together from any materials they could find. So photographs and really kind of cheap budget music videos. But things changed, and yeah, MTV is kind of critical in the history of music videos. Of course, it hasn't done music videos for over 20 years now. It's more kind of reality TV and things like that. But I think there's a program that I don't, again, revealing my age maybe, but there's a program that's actually really, really important in the evolution of music videos in the UK. It's called The Chart Show.
I
And it
remember.
ran between, you remember it? Okay, thanks. It ran between mid 80s, I think 86 or maybe 96. And what it was a program based on the charts. So the charts were announced every week based on the number of single record sales that week. And it would count down from 40 to 1. And in the program, every sort of 5 or 6 singles, it would stop and it would play the video for that song. But a similar kind of problem, a lot of those songs didn't have videos, so the chart show couldn't stop on them because there
Yeah,
wasn't a video in existence. And particularly if there was a surprise hit, maybe a song that had a lot of airplay that week and had come into the charts quite suddenly, the chart show would actually phone up the production companies and say, "Look, we want to play this week, but there's no video." So the production company would really hurriedly kind of produce something and often throw a lot of money at it just so it could be played on the chart show. Those kinds of programs don't exist anymore, of course. Now we're looking at all manner of platforms where music videos are being shown, and often the artists are making them themselves. Um, in collaboration with kind of independent filmmakers, so that the whole kind of the whole the whole history of it has changed in just a comparatively short space of time compared to
Mm.
sort of cinema or theatre or whatever. Is that enough for now? Maybe.
That's great. Honestly, I didn't know a lot of this information, and I love music. Music is like my life. But you are right now. Now that I think about it, it feels it's like a whole different ball game now. What about Joe and Ewan? Do you guys have any input on how you feel the evolution of music videos has changed over the last, I don't know how many years?
Well, yeah, it's like when I got into music videos, I guess it was like, well, the late noughties, and then I didn't really kind of start pitching on music videos, and that's when you're pitching to get a job with a production company, and it was even then in the noughties. I feel like we were already in some kind of music video decline, in the sense that like there was a moment when music videos had really quite substantial budgets, and then in the 2010s that started to reduce dramatically. And I would say now that kind of music videos have become like, I've done a few little music videos lately, partly like through connections I have with people that I know and friends and labels that I've worked with. But it's like so much of a music video now is just another part of content. And like a music video needs to be used across different platforms. You know, it needs to be formatted for Instagram, for example. But it's like, I'll make something and then it's used to promote an album, or and then it's used as a music video in its own right, and then it's used like different parts of it are used on different social posts. So it feels like it's kind of completely changed what a music video is, and a lot of the time whether record labels actually want to invest in music videos, that's kind of changed as well. But then, you know, I guess the definition of what a music video is I think is very broad, and I think there'll always be some kind of music video.
Thank you, Ewan. Joe, do you have anything to add?
I don't have too much to say on this, but yeah, I think obviously with social media and everything, it's changing a lot the way that we consume content and the way that artists are using videos, like Ewan said. Like, for example, I've done quite a few music videos that are like just specifically for like the 15-second Spotify canvas. You shoot it in portrait, and then they just use that 15 seconds for all of the promo, you know? Sometimes it's down to budget and sometimes for other reasons, but yeah, now you're not always making a full music video. It's just like a snippet sometimes.
It's so interesting. It's really changing with you're so right. I remember really watching music videos on my telly, and now I watch them either on YouTube or on Instagram and social media. It's crazy. Okay, we'll move on. What are the creative benefits of filmmaking, filmmakers working in music videos?
I would just
You
say, oh, sorry, go on, Ewan.
no go
No,
go
no,
for it, Joe.
I was thinking with my mouth open.
I would just say that there's no rules in a music video. Like you can create whatever you want. You know, when you're making a short film or something, you're like serving the script and you're making something, and there's kind of rules and regulations. With a music video, aside of what the artist thinks, there is no rules. So you can just like really create freely and like push the boundaries and just kind of have fun with it. And that's always when the best stuff is made, when you're just kind of having fun, I think.
Definitely, it's a lot more creative.
Yeah, I guess sorry, what was the exact question again?
So, what are the creative benefits for filmmakers working in music videos?
I guess, yeah, it depends on the artist. I guess, like, I've made music videos which have been a dream because it's just been making something fun with no restrictions, like Joe says. And I also believe, yeah, a music video can be anything. It doesn't need to be performance based. It doesn't need to be a story. But yeah, there's something wonderful about the format because essentially you're making a piece of a visual to match some music. And yeah. That's it. um, if I think of something else, I'll come back in.
Love it. But you are right. It allows you to be a lot more creative, a lot more flexible. You can be wacky as well. Greg, did you have anything to add onto?
Just this, I mean, the same thing as what Joe was saying is music videos don't have to make sense. Certainly not in the same way as, you know, a drama or a documentary does. It doesn't have those same rules like narrative, and it's not sort of tied to dialogue and things like that. So there's a lot more room to fail, or to get things wrong, which is quite exciting, I think.
Yeah, failing is a good thing. I think it's not a bad thing to make a few mistakes. Okay, cool. So this question is about commissioning. So how do you guys go about getting commissions for music videos, and how do you make connections with musicians these days? Because it has really, really changed over the last couple of years. I'm going to open the floor. Whoever feels like they're ready to answer.
So I haven't pitched on a music video in a while, and so, but I have in the past have pitched quite a lot of music videos, various budgets. It can be a very frustrating process. So the idea is that I guess for like in London anyway, you get attached to a production company, and they maybe represent you, but also commissioners get to know your work, and the commissioner will be approached by a label to find somebody to make a music video, and then that commissioner will reach out and ask a load of directors, probably through the production companies, to basically ask for a load of ideas. And I've managed to make and get budgets that way, and it's great because normally it's a decent budget compared to doing a very low budget music video. But also I've written so many ideas which have never gone anywhere. And it's kind of, sometimes, I guess one of the things to be aware of, sometimes you're pitching on something where you don't know how many other people are pitching on it, and you don't know who's pitching on it. And I've pitched on things, and then like really high profile directors have then gone and got the job, and you're just like thinking, oh, why did I even bother? But then I think there's so many music videos I've made through relationships I've made with people, as in I've made one video with them, and then you make more videos, and it's like a creative relationship really, where you get more and more freedom in what you do, because it becomes a kind of conversation, a creative conversation.
Amazing.
But I'm sure Joe's experience is totally different.
Yeah, Joe, you answer.
Yeah, I think it is different just because I've not pitched to like a big budget music video. A lot of the artists I work with aren't signed to a label, so they're using their own money. They're lower budget music videos. I think when I started, I knew I wanted to do it, but I didn't know kind of how to approach it. So I just started going to a lot of gigs and speaking to the artists afterwards, maybe taking photos of the gigs and sending them to the artists or to the bands. And it's just kind of to get on their radar as well, so they know that you do exist and that you create visuals for musicians. I'd say I started by just offering it for free as well, offering to do a music video for free. If you've never made a music video, it's just good to do that, just so you have a couple under your belt. You can make a few for your portfolio, and then you're more likely to be approached to make a music video. So yeah, in the start, it just takes a bit of patience, and you've got to be willing to just maybe do a few for free, because that's how you're going to get in. Like Instagram DMs is a perfect way of just, reaching out to people. And if you offer them to make a music video for free, most of them are going to say yes, I think.
So Joe, on that, when do you start going, actually, I can't, I'm overqualified to be doing it for free now? When did you have that like sort of epiphany?
I think like after you made your first one, that's kind of proven to yourself that you can do it. and then you're more likely to charge the next time or the next time. But I think in the beginning, I was approaching people to make music videos, so I wasn't charging for them. And then as soon as they started approaching me, I would charge for them, and it just kind of snowballs, you know. As the quality improves or whatever, you can just raise your prices.
Yeah. And sorry to pick on you there, Joe. But it's really, like, you're so right. It's a great way to start to eventually be speaking to, commissioners and big musicians. So how do you work around the budgets and stuff? When you first started, how did you manage that?
I think, yeah, you just kind of chat to the artist and have a bit of a meeting and just see what budget they've got and what they're able to do. And that's kind of when you decide if they haven't got enough budget for the idea, maybe you just make a visualizer, or you just you scale it down a
Yeah.
bit and make just the things for the socials or whatever, so they can still promote the song, but maybe they don't have the budget for a full video. Um, and then in terms of actual full music videos, just kind of do it within the budget. If the idea is too ambitious and the budget's too small, then you just got to kind of figure out a way of getting the same sort of vibe or result, just scaled down, I guess. You
Yeah, it's a conversation. Yeah, I love that. And Ewan, I'm so sorry. I'm going to come back to you because I'm just curious to know how you might go about meeting commissioners, and because it seems like you're making quite high profile music videos, which feel a bit out of reach sometimes. How did you start that?
Um, it's it was purely in the same way as Joe, really, just making videos for almost no money. I think we did the Truck as a Husk video, and then I think not long after that it was a video for Future of the Left, which we filmed in that pub in Cardiff, Vulcan, which has now been opened in a museum, right? Anyway, but it was just kind of. But then even when I was starting out, I feel like Future of the Left, they had a label, and they had. I'll be completely transparent. I think they had 4,000 quid or something for a video, and they just approached us directly. And I think even back then, small labels, small indie labels, small indie bands, there was still a little bit more budget kind of flying around. But then videos I made last year were with. I didn't pitch on anything last year. I made very low budget videos for people I know, and I guess I don't know what my point is. So I've gone full circle. But yeah, I think the thing is you have to make something that people want to buy into. They like what you've made, and they want a video in your style, I guess. But I guess the videos that we were making were kind of there's often a lot of humor in them, often lots of bits of animation, and it was kind of, I guess it was very ideas based, and a lot of kind of weird stuff to get attention in a way, to kind of grab people's attention. But I feel like I had a look at some of Joe's work, and it's the stuff that he's making looks way more polished than the stuff that me and my friend Casey were making years and years ago. And I guess some of that is all down to technology as well. But in terms of commissioners, yeah, you just make work and then try and get it up on maybe sites like Promo News, because commissioners look at sites like Promo News, and just Promo News are really approachable. You just send them a video, and if it's halfway decent, they're probably going to put it up. And you just got to get your stuff in the right places for commissioners to pick up on it. But then it's also, there's so much stuff which is coming direct from labels now. So much work isn't with these freelance commissioners. It's record labels are approaching film makers directly and getting them to make work for them. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's because I'm not like starting out now. I'm almost like maybe I don't have many more music videos in me.
Yeah, would you say it's a combination of putting yourself out there through sort of like direct messaging, but also just putting yourself out
Yeah,
in different platforms?
And also just like, you know, so many of our early music videos were with people we knew. And I presume it's the same as Joe. It's just like being in the Cardiff music scene, going to the gigs, knowing all the bands, you know, and like Kate Le Bon, knowing Kate Le Bon, and then like her careers, of course, completely taken off. And but then at the same time, I don't know, I don't think Kate Le Bon particularly has great budgets anymore for music videos. I don't want to talk for too long. I sound too bleak. That's what I'm worried about.
No,
I
it's
just feel
great.
like it's a very changing landscape all the time. It's always evolving and it's always changing, and not all indie labels, for example, but I think Joe's dealing with quite different record labels probably from what I was dealing with. But I feel like there's a kind of lack of investment in smaller bands' videos now.
I would agree. I think they seem to be paying for it a lot of the times themselves. Is that right, Joe? The artists themselves are sort of paying for these videos.
I would say so, but again, a lot of the artists I work with aren't signed, so I'm not sure how it works with a more established artist. But I would just add that like don't underestimate the power of word of mouth because
Yeah.
I started off by just working with one artist who happened to know loads of other artists, and when they saw the work, then they were approaching me for it, and it can just snowball into something you'd never imagine, you know?
Yeah.
Lovely. What about Greg? Do you have anything to add on to this point?
I mean, not particularly. The videos that I've made were made under very similar circumstances. They were people I knew, and I was approached directly because by commissioners because I had made things that they were aware of. But I think one thing is I think there are little pots of money out there, but they're not necessarily coming through the traditional kind of channels. Say the production companies or the broadcasters or the record labels, they might be coming from other kind of projects, often kind of government funded projects. And, you know, there's no kind of magic wand to tap into those. It's doing very much what you said, which is putting yourself out there, meeting people, and just trying to make sure you're aware of as many possible things as you can. And that is something that takes time. But I think most people who've built careers in the industry would say that it does eventually work.
You're really right. You just got to put yourself out there, and I think what Ewan said is really true. It's a really ever evolving, ever changing sort of industry, the creative one that we work in. So yeah, just keep testing it, and you might be the change. So just, you know, your idea might be the right idea. Okay, so we kind of talked about it. It's what kind of budgets are filmmakers working with today? How long do you get to shoot? How big is your crew? Has any of this changed from the past till now? I don't know how you want to do it because obviously, Joe, you're an active a music video maker. But for you guys, Ewan and Greg, was it different before? Did you have a crew? Did you have a larger scale for filming and that sort of thing? And then, yeah, if Joe, you can just jump in and tell us how you're finding it these days.
Yeah, it's always varied depending on budget. Like at the very start, we were finding we were like just kind of dragging our friends in to work on stuff, and we were just like kind of using all our Cardiff connections. We would like Casey's dad was connected to the what they called Welsh National Opera, and we borrow all their props. and and we would just kind of get friends in, and we'd get friends to help out, and sometimes we'd have money to pay them, sometimes we wouldn't, and then we've kind of gone from that, where we've had full crews, and I guess, and that's like runners and producer and DOP and gaffer and all that stuff. But there's a part of the kind of music industry which kind of it sits alongside advertising, and all these people who shoot music videos and direct music videos and of the crew on music videos, they're all doing it for a cut rate because they make their living mostly doing advertising, or it might even be something else. They might work at TV or whatever. But so it's like, so yeah, it's you do on slightly bigger budgets, but like the biggest budgets on music videos that I've done aren't particularly huge. They're like 30,000, which is it evaporates quickly when you've got like at least 20 people on the set and whatever. But then I've only done, I don't know, a handful of music videos for that kind of budget, and then I've done like anything from nothing to that really, and it but yeah, it's a funny thing with crew. Sometimes it's nicer to have smaller crew and more time, and sometimes sometimes you have certain things, like I've done one take videos where the whole video is just one shot and we're using a Steadicam operator, and that needs to be done in a day, but you spend a lot of money in that day, or you spend the budget in that day, in fact. I don't know if any of this is useful. I'm feel like I'm.
It's all very useful. What about you? What about you, Joe?
I would say it varies a lot. Like a lot of the music videos I make, it's just me, and the artist, or unless obviously there's other people featured in the videos, but I'll shoot, direct, edit, and color grade it myself, which in some ways is a lot of work for you to do on your own, but you also get the creative freedom to do what you want with it. And those kind of shoots feel fun because it's just you and the artist collaborating, and you're just kind of seeing where it goes, you know?
Mm.
And then the biggest crew I've probably worked on a music video is probably like 4 or 5 people. And that was just down to we needed lighting, so we needed a gaffer and a spark and a couple of other crewmates. But yeah, I think it all depends on budgets. The budgets I'm working with aren't big enough to be having big crews and like weeks of shooting or anything. I think 3 days is the maximum amount of days I've done a music video on shooting wise. But a lot of them you just shoot them in one day because that's all you have time for sometimes.
And for you, does it depend as well on the budget that the artist, or more so the idea rather than the budget?
Idea as well, because some ideas are going to take longer to do, but I think plays a big part. If they have a bigger budget, you can shoot it over more amount of days, more locations. A music video I did for an artist called TOD, called Seasons. He's from London, but he wanted to come down to Wales and shoot like a very like rural countryside video, show the beauty of Wales basically. So we were traveling around to all sorts of places, beaches, like sand dunes, forests. So we did that over like 3 days. But yeah, it all just comes down to the idea and the budget as well, I'd say, yeah.
Nice. Okay. And what about you, Greg? You got anything?
I mean, maybe slightly from the other side of things, I mentioned at the beginning that the project I'm working on, we're commissioning a few music videos. It's not the main purpose of the project. It's just something we wanted to kind of, I don't know, kind of stimulate some creativity as part of the project. And we're talking about £1,000 per video, which isn't huge, but I think that 1,000, if a lot of artists can get hold of £1,000 these days to make a music video, they can probably do quite a lot with it. And we don't ask what they're going to spend the money on. I mean, we want to know what their concept is and things, but sometimes we get people saying they want to do these really kind of outrageous things, and we're thinking, well, great, but we would actually like you to take a little bit of that money for yourself as a fee. You know, you're not just spending it on, you know, sets or costumes or props. We're not going to be sustaining an industry with the kinds of money that we offer, of course, but yeah, they can do what they want with it, and yeah, they're not huge amounts like they used to be, I think.
Can I add something? I was just thinking, because I do a lot of animation as well, and I think that's interesting in a sense, because a lot of that is just time in a seat in front of a computer. And so, you know, especially if you're doing something which is digital based, or you know, stop motion is very time consuming and expensive. But so sometimes, like, and a lot of the music videos I made last year were all very low budget, but I can kind of make that budget work because it's essentially me making the video with not really many people around me. I might be, if there's anything to film in it, I'm shooting it myself. And, you know, I'm getting people from the label or friends of the band to help me out if I need a few extra people. So it's like, there's different ways of approaching it, and crews are very expensive things, and sometimes it's better to try and give yourself enough time, and also, yeah, make sure you get paid, because that's really important. You know, I'd prefer to save the budget for my time rather than spending it on maybe crew that I don't really need. That's a horrible thing. All crew are necessary, but just kind of giving yourself time to make something, and even if that's mostly you doing all the work.
Definitely. Thank you, guys. This has been so insightful, even for me. But yeah, so I'm gonna, before we jump into the Q&A section, because I can see a lot of questions coming through, so I want to get through to as many of those as possible. I'm gonna combine this last question, and I want to know the biggest creative or practical lesson you've learned from studying or working with music videos, and any advice you might have for a young person who wants to sort of break into this industry. Anyone can go first.
I'll go first then. I'll get myself out of the way. I think what we've noticed speaking to a lot of contemporary Welsh artists is they don't necessarily see the music and the videos separate anymore, or the music and the design, the kind of the visual aspects of the music. They go together, right? You know, from the early concept. As soon as they're coming up with the music, they're already thinking of imagery, which lends itself to working in close collaboration with a small amount of people, maybe just one filmmaker. And that's become really clear to us. Almost all of the contemporary artists we're speaking to are kind of saying similar things. So that was a big kind of surprise to us, maybe, because as I think, you know, has been mentioned, there's that feeling that maybe the music video doesn't have the same status as it used to. But I also think it's good for people starting out, because what it means is you can potentially start building an image with an artist. So if they are also starting out on their careers, they don't have, you know, they're concentrating on the music. They need to build their own visual imagery. And that's how collaborations work then. You know, you do something, it works, it's mutually kind of rewarding. You do something else and you kind of get better together. And I think that's really exciting, the idea of actually helping to establish an image for somebody.
Just to contradict that slightly, I feel like so much of kind of establishing yourself now is about, for want of a better word, branding yourself, like establishing like a strong visual style. And also I think it's important to not think I'm going to be a music video maker. I'm going to be a filmmaker, or I'm going to be an animator. And sometimes you might be animating some weird little viral advert for somebody. Sometimes you might be animating a music video. Sometimes, but I feel like, when you're kind of building up your reel of what you've made, you kind of you want people to look at it and go, oh, this person's really good. I want to go to them for this kind of look. And I think, I don't know, I feel like, and I think it's a bit of an effect of Instagram, but I feel like a lot of people who are very successful on Instagram and have a kind of very established style, basically their work is very much their work is very much their style, so that somebody who wants a music video in that style is going to. So I think it's important to be a good collaborator, and it's important to be a nice person to work with, and to help people achieve what they want to achieve, especially if they're offering you a bit of a budget. But I think there's also a little bit of a kind of selfish thing about, what am I getting out of this? And how is this going to kind of help me get to my next project, or my project after that? And just kind of always thinking, use this word real, as in all your previous work, and making it something, making it exciting when people see it and making them want to work with you.
Yeah. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, I think what Ewan was just saying about having a visual style, I've definitely had people come to me because they've seen the style of it and they want something like that, It's not always I don't really know how to phrase it, but yeah, if they want something like that, then they're going to go to you. But at the same time, it can take some time to find your style. So that's why I say doing them for cheap or doing them for free when you're first starting out isn't always the worst thing, because that is the time when it takes all the pressure off to not be taking money off them, or to only be taking a little bit, and then it's just all about the creativity. And yeah, I kind of butchered that, but you get what I'm saying.
No, I get it. So it is good to have a slight niche, but you kind of have to start with an open mind to sort of understand your style and your niche and where you best fit. I think that's really great advice. Okay, so sorry, I know I've already said we're going to go into the Q&A, but I've got a couple more questions. So are music videos still a good calling card for working in other formats like commercial, features, TV? Do you think it's a good starting point? Joe, I'm going to ask you because I know you've actually done some commercials, haven't you, for some quite high-end brands?
I have, but those have been linked to the production company I work for. I don't think that came through music videos. However, I definitely have had clients who didn't want me to make a music video, who had seen the music videos and thought, oh, well, he's going to be able to do it, kind of thing. So I'm not too sure. I think, it's a good display of your work, especially if you're like a one-man band and you're doing everything. If you're shooting it, directing it, editing it, color grading it, then people can see that you can obviously do those things. So it's good for that. But I'm not too sure in terms of industry how it's viewed, to be honest.
What about you guys?
Yeah, I think so. I think music videos have been the stepping stone into a commercial world. But I think also social media has completely shaken everything up in terms of that model even. I think it's quite different. I think what I'm saying is with people who might be on Instagram making kind of weird magic trick videos, and if they're successful enough, they might end up, making some adverts. I think there's kind of lots of paths, but totally, that's how it worked for me. I made music videos, and then now I direct advertising now and again.
Do you
But
are you seeing a lot of sorry to cut in, are you seeing a lot of transferable skills between your days when you're primarily making music videos to
totally, and
yeah.
totally, because it's also about it's the same visual language, and it's the same. It's also just like, if you're ever on set filming, especially if you're kind of got to a commercial level, you want to be like relaxed in that situation, and you've got to that stage by making lots of music videos and working with lots of people and collaborating and trusting your DOP or whatever. It's all a very useful learning process to kind of get to that kind of work, but not not even commercials. Think about TV as well, and yeah, don't just focus on commercials. It's commercials is there's a lot of pitching involved there as well. There's a lot of pitching in life, isn't there? Yeah.
Lovely. And what about you, Greg?
It definitely used to be as a calling card. I'm not sure, the other guys will know better than I do whether it still is, but a lot of people we've spoken to have described working on music videos as being a kind of a film school in the sense that it tends to be something that people do early in their career. It obviously doesn't have to be, but it does tend to be. And a lot of people have described that early part of their career working on music videos as being the place to kind of to test and develop and grow. Yeah, but the other guys will know better than I do whether that's still the case. I can imagine it is.
I think there's I think his name's Tom Emerson. He's someone who's making music videos at the minute, and he had a music video go viral because, well, you should find the video. It's by Ants Live. I think it's called Number One Candidate, and I know that the guy who made that video is now making lots of commercials and like working on loads of other things. But he definitely started out in music videos, as far as I know. Yeah, that's a good
Lovely.
one.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't make music videos, but I've directed live sessions, and that's what sort of like I did it off my own back, and that's what sort of led me into working in TV and then radio. So it's definitely a great place to start if you're a lover of music and wacky ideas, I guess. Go for it. Okay, and just before we go into the questions, how can people find you guys and find your work?
Oh, hang on, I'm having technical difficulties here.
How can people find our work?
Yeah, how do they get in contact with you and also find your work?
I've just got a website, or I'm on Instagram, and it's just my name in full. I don't know why I'm pointing at the camera to show where my name is on the screen, but it's just my name, Ewan Jones Morris, at Instagram or at .co.uk maybe. But I'm about, and I'm on Vimeo as well. That was sorry, just to kind of step back a bit. I found Vimeo, and I don't know if it's still exactly the same, but Vimeo was a platform which I found massively useful in getting my work out there, because they kind of curated. They would have like, video of a day or whatever, staff picks. That's what they called it, staff picks. And when I got staff picks on a video, it suddenly got hundreds of thousands of views, and I got lucky, I guess, but I guess that's just, I don't know. I always found that platform quite a useful platform. I don't know, Joe, do you use Vimeo?
I do use Vimeo, but mainly just to send and like do the review tools thing.
Okay, yeah.
But I have seen the staff pick still is a thing, and I watch them all the time. But yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I should look into actually uploading there.
Because I know there was and I used to like spend time posting my video to different parts of Vimeo in the hope that like people would see it. And then sometimes it kind of just got, then a few channels would post it on Vimeo. But I have no idea if it's the same kind of setup and whether it's as
I
good.
got a slightly different angle to the question. How do you discover other people's work?
Oh, how I
No, you answered the right question. No, this is another question.
God, I think I spend too much time on Instagram. It's horrible. Yeah, I used to spend time on Vimeo, but I feel like Instagram just sucks my attention, too much of my attention. That's my confession.
I've never even heard of Vimeo.
I guess it's like YouTube for filmmakers.
Yeah. Do you think it's still like an important tool to use? Or is Instagram doing the job?
I think it's doing different things.
Okay.
I think Vimeo is more designed for makers of film or makers of music videos or makers of whatever. I don't know if it's quite the platform, but it was. But like, there was a team running it, and they were great. When I had like a film in a film festival, they would be there and they'd know who I was, and like, and it was just like they were great at building a community. But I don't know if it's still quite the same.
Fair enough. Just really quickly before we jump into the Q&As, does Greg or Joe have any more input? And how do you discover work?
A lot of my work is. Sorry, Joe. Go on.
Go on. Carry on.
I'm going to be really quick. So the kind of videos I'm looking for, I tend to spend a lot of time in archives and looking at YouTube. But fortunately, in Wales, this is a bit to do with the political context. We still have a couple of TV programs that produce music videos. I think that's probably quite unique. So obviously, I watch those programs like Loop. I don't know if anyone's heard of these things. And Hiradir will produce music videos as well, and they don't have huge budgets, but their original music videos still being produced in Welsh.
Was it Bandit who produced it? They used to produce a lot of music videos, didn't they?
They did, yeah, they did. And I think when that came to an end in 2011, 2012, there wasn't really there wasn't a plan for how S4C would produce music videos or how the production companies would produce music videos, but it has kind of struggled along. There have been other programs as well.
Love that. So be sure to check out Loop and those. So I love Loop. They do really, really great work. We've got about 15 minutes to jump into lots of questions that are coming through the Q&A portal. Are you happy for me to jump in, or did you want to say something on top, Joe?
No, all good. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to throw the questions out, and then whoever wants to feels confident to answer them, go for it. What might you put into a pitch for a music video? Script, visual, material? What sort of things do you put into a pitch?
It may seem fairly obvious, but just like be really clear what your idea is, and almost second to that is make it sound exciting. But like, just be really clear and just get lots of images in there, because that's what they look at. And like, it's almost like they want to see a paragraph of a great idea, a load of pictures which interest them, and then, of course, you need more text than that. But like, that's almost secondary. It's like, you need a front page which sells that idea really.
Grab their attention.
Yes,
love that. Okay, yeah.
I'd say as well, like, visual content is really important. But there's websites like Shot Deck, I think it's called, and Film Grab, where it's just like a massive. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but it's just got loads of like frames and like reference frames from films throughout the history of film and music videos, and you can just scroll like a like the random bit, and it'll just bring up loads of different stuff. It's really good to find references and stuff when you're doing a pitch, I'd say.
Love that. Okay. And are music video festivals worth submitting to?
I don't know all the music video festivals. I think you should be careful if you've got to pay a lot of money. And maybe it's not a festival, but UK Music Video Awards or whatever. I think in a way you probably shouldn't be submitting. I think it's probably cost like at least 150 quid to put your video in, and like I don't think you should be paying that money unless you have like a production company attached who are covering that cost. But in terms of smaller festivals, I don't have much experience actually.
Okay. What about you, Greg or Joe? Any input?
Yeah, I've never actually submitted a short film to a short film festival. So yeah, I can't really comment, to be honest.
That's okay. So I guess submit on your own accord. Okay, so what are the differences between a music video and a visualizer?
From my understanding, I think a visualizer is like a shorter version. Like that, the visualizer is like the contents surrounding the music video, or instead of, like I was saying earlier, a lot of the time it's like the little Spotify Canvas video that plays and that sort of thing, or like a little promo before the release of the song or something.
Is it almost a trailer for the music video? Sorry.
Yeah, what Joe said, but also like my experience with the Spotify visual, the little canvas thing, is that you're not all like music videos. You're always making a visual which is very tight to the music. Well, they might just be looping something. It's a visualizer. It's not in time. It's just like, I guess, for want of a better word, it's all about vibes. Yeah.
Love that. Okay, and is going to film school beneficial to succeed in music videos? Have you guys been to film school?
Yeah.
Yes.
Greg works in one.
I film school. I went to the film school in Killeen, just outside Newport, and I don't know if I learned an awful lot there, but I met lots of nice people, and like that's almost the most important part of it. But I know it doesn't get any cheaper to go to film school, so yeah. I think making stuff is more important.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I went to Bournemouth Film School and I enjoyed it and I learned a fair bit. But yeah, like Ewan says, it's mainly about surrounding yourself with like-minded people who also want to create stuff like that. If I'm honest, I think you probably get more out of just creating and just making the videos and just learning as you go. Because obviously, like it's very structured within a film school or a university. And you're going to learn more by just doing it. But you know, it is. I would say it's beneficial. It's more just on like what the individual would rather. I think, you know.
Greg?
Yeah, I mean, I could talk forever, but I think exactly what they just said, both Joe and Ewan, is if you're going to go to film school or a university, they're not going to turn you into a Hollywood director or a Hollywood cinematographer. That's not what it's about. And we do get a lot of students coming to us thinking that that's what they're going to get. And naturally, they're going to be disappointed. But it is definitely about meeting people and being in creative environments. And it's also about access to kit and access to facilities, which a lot of young people might not have. So of course I think it's worth it, but it's also my job. So, you know, I need people to go to university or I don't have a job.
There's definitely some benefits there, and I think the kit is the network is a big one because the industry runs on network, but the kit is also a real barrier, I think, for a lot of starters. Okay, what's the best way to creatively collaborate with music artists? Maybe if the vision's slightly different as well.
I'd say it's different with every artist you work with, to be honest. Some of them have a very vague idea of what they want, and then they just kind of give you that and let you run with it. Some people want to be really involved in the whole process. Um, like there's an artist I work with called Nathan Misra, and he also has a music production studio and he creates music videos for other people. So he's had years of experience making music videos, and then when we make them together, it is like very much a collaboration. But with other artists, I've had them come and just go, "This is what the song's about. Do your thing." So it really does differ, to be honest.
Um,
Thank you.
this sounds a bit mercantile, but like I think you've got to always be careful. Like if somebody wants to call all the shots in the music video, as in the artist you're working with, they should be paying for that. They should be paying you a decent money, because ultimately I think you always got to be getting something out of it, and it might be something like money, or it might be you want to create something great which you know is going to be great and it's your creative vision, collaborating with an artist, because you're always collaborating with artists because it's their music as well. And I think it's always balancing act, collaboration. But yeah, just make sure you get something out of it. Don't It's not all about them, it's also about you and your vision.
But
Greg?
collaborating is a skill as well.
Yeah.
It's something you develop over time, and people can't just sort of decide one day that they want to be better collaborators. So I would suggest, particularly if you're just starting out, is maybe, meet up with some musicians whose music you like, and see if that's a good way of or some genres you like, working there while you're kind of feeling your way around, and you develop good collaboration skills then to be able to maybe become professional and work with artists that maybe you don't particularly like.
Lovely.
Just to say, sorry, quickly, I know you've got lots of questions. I've done two types of music videos. Sometimes you're just coldly pitching an idea and you don't know the person you're pitching to. And then other times you're having a conversation. And I always find that the conversation with an artist is always more rewarding than chucking an idea out there and then actually finding out halfway through the video that they're not fully on board. For example, not all the time, but it happens.
Would you say there's like a particular etiquette to go about this like difficult conversation, what can be a difficult conversation?
I think it's about listening to somebody's ideas and how they think it should be, and hopefully they listen to how you think it should be. And it's about compromise and finding a compromise, or filming something two ways and then showing the alternatives in the edit at the end, or I don't know. There's lots of ways around it, really. But I think it's always about being a reasonable person, and not. It's only ever a music video.
Yeah, perfect. So we got one last question from the Q&A. These have all been really, really great questions. So thank you guys for putting them through. Is there any training available for making music videos? Oh, go, Joe.
I did not mean to do that. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Have you guys come across any training available for people who want to start making music videos?
I haven't.
No.
I think YouTube University, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like you learn so much off YouTube. That is where I learned most of what I know, to be honest. So definitely just find as many creators on YouTube and those sorts of platforms. Instagram now as well. There's a lot of people who are making these things, but also showing you the whole process of how they did it,
Yeah, and especially for learning software and stuff like
Yeah.
that. If there's stuff you want to do in After Effects or whatever, it's like you can find it all out online for free.
So true. What about you, Greg? Have you come across any training?
Yeah, I don't know about stuff like that, but particularly, but I don't think you don't need budgets and actors and crew, and I mean, you don't even really need the artist to start practicing the craft. You could sit in front of a computer and engaging kind of sort of mashups and collages and things like that. And you know, it won't be long before you start hitting up against kind of copyright issues, just particularly if you want to release things. But in terms of developing the kinds of skills that you might need, you can be starting to do stuff without cameras and without collaborators necessarily. That's what I did.
I think you're so right. You just got to throw yourself in the deep end and hope something goes wrong so you can learn something from it. I never see it as a loss, but a lesson. Thank you so much, guys. I feel like I've learned so much great information, and I think we've had a really eclectic panel here today.
Thank you so much for watching this BFI Film Academy Lab session on making music videos in 2025. We run monthly live digital labs and would love to see you at our next event on Monday the 9th of December. It will be all about creative post-production on a budget. To find out more about this session, visit our labs webpage, which you can find in the video's YouTube description, and follow Film Academy on all our social channels. Thank you, and see you next time.